Hello and welcome to this video about box plots. In this video I'm going to go through two main things, and that is going to be how to draw a box plot and then later how to compare two box plots and how to make sure that you are getting those marks in your exam. So a question about drawing a box plot would probably look a little bit like this. It doesn't always, and I'll talk a little bit about that later, but you'll be given some information or you'll have to find this information. You would need to know the largest and smallest value, the two quartiles, the lower quartile and the upper quartile, and then the median. So in this question we're given those values in the table. Now they are to do with the amount of minutes it took some boys to do a test or a puzzle, I can't remember the details. But below we've been given a small grid in which to draw this box plot, and it has been scaled for us. So what we need to do is to carefully plot each of these points, and we normally draw them with a vertical line. So the shortest time, which is 18 minutes, I've plotted below here at the 18-minute mark using the scale. Then I've plotted the longest time, then I plotted the median, and then I've done the lower and upper quartile. Doesn't really matter which order you're going to do these in, but that's just the order I prefer. Then to finish the box plot, I then draw the remaining horizontal lines, which then just complete the diagram so that it looks like this. Now some questions you may have to find this information usually from a cumulative frequency diagram, sometimes from just a list of data. The other thing is the table will not always contain all these values. You might be told some of them, but given other information be able to calculate the rest. Now the next thing I'm going to go through is another part to the question, is using the same diagram from the previous slide where we're actually comparing two box plots. So here we've got the box plots for the times that it took the boys and then a box plot for the time that it took the girls. And so when you're asked to compare, this question is usually worth about 2 marks, and the comparisons you have to make are the median, and then the second one has to be a range. Now it can be the interquartile range or it can be the overall range, but as long as you're comparing those two, you'll get your marks. Now increasingly in the new GCSE, you would need to make sure that you're also including the context. So as we're talking about time, we want to make sure we're using words which accurately describe what's going on in terms of time. So if I was going to write an answer for these two box plots, I'd write something like this, where I write that the girls have a faster median time of 25.5 seconds compared to the boys of 29 seconds. So this first point does compare the medians, but I'm also using the term faster. Rather than saying it's smaller or less, I'm actually trying to include the fact that it's to do with time and make sure I compare it in context. The next part I was talking about the range, where I said the boys have a larger range of 26 seconds, whereas for girls it is 19 seconds. I'm not trying to explain why this has happened or come up with a reason for it. I'm only asked to compare them, and as long as you can include some values and context, then you should be able to get your marks from this type of question. Now the last thing that I want to go through in the box plot work is to actually understand about how a box plot is structured in terms of its percentages. When you ask most people about percentages with a box plot when they can just see it like this for the first time, they'll often think of it as being split into thirds or representing 33.3 recurring percent each. Whereas because this box plot is made up of quartiles and medians, you actually have 25% sections. So 25% of the data is split into each section. And the wider the section, it just tells you the more spread out the data is. Now questions have been asking about estimating percentages above or below a certain value, or actually using these percentages to figure out how many people. But it's important that you do just understand how the percentages work and that you don't fall into the trap of using thirds or 33.3%. Hopefully this has been a quick video about the box plots, and hopefully this will help you do well in your exams. Thank you.